everybody, and welcome back to the West Ham Network. This is your opposition preview. Of course, we bring you all the match day content, so please make sure you go and check it all out. All over the channel, we've got our preview, we've got our stat attack, you name it. Your starting 11, our starting 11, every bit of your match day content on the West Ham Network. So make sure you go and check out all of our stuff on the channel. But this time, we're bringing on an opposition fan, a good friend of the channel, Dave as a party from Talking Wolves. How you doing, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me back on, Anton.
Yep, no worries at all, Dave. Listen, mate, it's been a little while since we've had you back on the channel. Of course, I'll put a link in the description and let people know where they can find you, but they will all know where to find you because you've been on here several times before. But what a game we've got coming up this weekend. We can push aside the international football and we can focus back on the Premier League again. First and foremost, you excited to have Premier League football back? And secondly, what's been happening at Wolves, mate?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not a huge fan of the international, so always good to have club football back. But saying that, are we excited because, West Ham and Wolves, we haven't had a great start to the campaign? Yeah, look, it's not been great for us so far and been a little bit disappointing. Before our last game, before the City game, to be fair, we had the best defence in the league. We'd started off defensively quite all right, but the same issues as we've had, not just last season, even the season before, we're just not scoring enough goals. As most people know, Raul Jimenez, sort of ever since he's come back from that horrible head injury, struggled for goals last year, hasn't been great this year. We'd signed another striker, Austrian forward, Sasha Kalajdzic. He'd done his ACL within the first 45 minutes of playing for Wolves. So we're having a little bit of
very West Ham, that is. Very West Ham.
So we're having a little bit of a nightmare with the front line. And obviously, we signed Diego Costa to come in as well. So it'll be interesting to see if he takes part on Saturday. But other than the strikers, just no one else is contributing towards goals. We're not getting them from the wide players, such as Pedro Neto. Guedes has come in. So it's been really, really quiet, and there's been some disappointing performances. Most recent game against Manchester City, we just were nowhere near good enough. We know how good City are, but when you concede after 58 seconds, you're not going to make life any easier for yourself, and then a red card as well. So that pretty much sums up the start to our season, but there's mounted pressure on Bruno Lage. I think it's 1 win in 14 for him if we stretch back to last season as well. And we've got yourselves, we've got Chelsea, and then we've got Nottingham Forest. I think he's got to get at least 1 win in those 3 games. Otherwise, he might be out of a job.
Well, I was just about to ask you that. You asked me that. I've been on your channel as well, and you asked me about David Moyes being under pressure, and I suppose our fan base is pretty split. But I suppose you've answered that question. If you don't get results over the next few games, Bruno is putting himself really in the firing line for losing his job. But you have then went and brought in a player that was unattached to anyone, Diego Costa. He's been Premier League proven footballer before. What's the Wolves fans' thoughts on bringing him in to replace the said striker you mentioned who's injured? And do you see him, being involved at the weekend?
Yeah, so, well, quickly going back to Bruno Lage as well, sorry, there's sort of 2 sides to it, and it was similar with Nuno, to be fair, but with Bruno, it's the fact that, for me, we're sort of similar to West Ham. We spent a lot of money in the summer. He did quite well for most of last season, and when we failed to back him in January, that's when it sort of went downhill. They've backed him quite a lot this summer, and it's his squad now. So if he can't get a song or a tune out of this squad, then, I don't know what to say. But ever since he's come in, he's not really had a capable striker for me. Jimenez was out of form. Fabio Silva still wasn't ready last year. He's brought in a nice striker in Kalajdzic this year who's injured again. So Diego Costa now is almost possibly going to be the man that sort of saves Bruno Lage his job at Wolves. When it was first linked, I was surprised. I wasn't really that bothered because I think, like a lot of people, you probably think he's probably past it. You look at his record over the last year or two. He'd finished at Atletico Madrid. He'd gone to Atletico Mineiro over in Brazil. Hadn't done fantastically. But when we signed him, the work permit was approved. I've seen training videos of him. I'm sort of rubbing my hands together now thinking, oh, this could be quite fun. So, like I said on our channel, I think that, he's had we knew he wasn't going to be match fit. We knew he wasn't going to be ready. But then with the sort of the short notice of the games a couple of weeks ago being postponed, he didn't take part in the Manchester City game. He's pretty much had 2 or 3 weeks now to try and get up to a certain level of fitness. So I think at the very least, he's going to be in the squad on Saturday. but it wouldn't surprise me to see him starting on Saturday evening against West Ham as well.
Yeah, of course. And listen, you've seen West Ham bring in quite a few players, spending a lot of money in terms of the transfer window. You've mentioned some of the players that you've brought in, but you also lost a few players in the transfer window. And how's that? Has that had an impact on Wolves?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say if it's had like such a big impact. I mean, we'd lost major players. Connor Cody is the main one where a lot of people sort of outside the wall space were just really surprised about that move. But I think for Bruno Lage, we'd gone from a back five to a back four. He wanted to have more of the ball. He wanted to attack a little bit more, and that was just something that had to come naturally. We needed to move away from our back five. It wasn't the way that Bruno Lage wanted to play. And with Connor Cody, he was our leader, he was our captain, but he wasn't good enough to play in a back four. He wanted to play for England at the World Cup, and for him to get game time, he had to move clubs. So that made sense. But with the results going on, could we have done with him? Could we have done with his leadership? It's one of those things. And again, that's sort of a discussion amongst Wolves fans at the moment. Would we be in a better place if we still had Connor Cody at the minute?
Yeah, absolutely. Now you're traveling to London Stadium, the home of West Ham, that we're still trying to make our home. It's starting to feel a bit better, but we're two clubs not in form. We've only scored 2 Premier League goals this season, but we do have the squad there, players available if we want to play them. That's the biggest thing. But the big game is you're traveling away. You need the points. West Ham need the points. How do you think Wolves will set up against struggling West Ham at the London Stadium?
I think it will be a 4-3-3. That's pretty much how Bruno Lage has started for most of our games. In goal, I could probably pretty much name you the team because I think it's so predictable. Well, I say that actually. I think Sarr will start in goal. Max Kilman will be one of the centre backs. Obviously, Nathan Collins got a red card against Manchester City, who had been really good coming up to the City game. So it'll be interesting to see who plays there.
Was that for the karate chop?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so if you're going to get sent off, that's the
may as well do it in style, yeah.
Especially against Jack Grealish as well. So, but yeah, it'll be a 4-3-3. I think the midfield three is going to be where the game is won and lost for us. I think we'll have Matinho, Neves, and Mateus Nunes, who's a great player in there. But having a good battle against the likes of Declan Rice, I think that's possibly where the game could be won or lost.
Yeah, definitely sounds like the midfield battle is definitely going to be up for grabs. West Ham are going through a couple of transitional positions. We've brought in Flynn Downs. Moyes made it quite clear in the transfer market he was going to go for a central midfielder, and he didn't particularly get his marker when he was looking for certain players. So we stuck with Tommy Soucek, who has struggled a lot this season for West Ham club and country as well for the Czech Republic. But it's just going to be telling to see who he's going to put in alongside him. We've got players like Paqueta who can drop in alongside Declan Rice as well, and that can maybe force the hand of being less defensive and more creative and progressive football. If you come up against the likes of Scamacca, everything about Antonio. What's your thoughts about the West Ham forward line and how your defence could potentially deal with that?
Yeah, I'll be intrigued. I think with us getting rid of the back five, we've got normally with Nathan Collins, Kilman and Collins are two. They're not slouches, but they're big physical players that can deal with it quite well. I was always concerned with Connor Cody because he's bigger forwards. He always used to struggle against players like Mitrovic as well, where they get him on the turn. So I was confident with that. It'll be interesting to see who Bruno Lage partners alongside Max Kilman to deal with that. But we've done all right. Like I said, defensively, we've been okay, and we've been able to deal with, ignore the Manchester City game, but we've been able to deal with everybody else quite well. But it's just for us, it's going forward at the minute. We just look so goal shy. But like I said, it's just been the common theme for Wolves over the last 2.5 years. Under Nuno, his last year, we averaged less than a goal a game. Last year, under Bruno Lage, we averaged less than a goal a game. And it's happening already this season. So that has got to be addressed as soon as possible, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on that, it sounds like it's going to be an exciting game, #not. But what is your predictions for the game Saturday evening, 5:30 kickoff? Very rare for a Saturday kickoff as well.
Yeah, I'm always very, my heart is saying Wolves 2-1, but my head is saying we will not score 2 goals, and it's probably going to be a 1-1 draw.
Right, cool. Well, then, get us both off the marker. But I
Yeah.
hope you're wrong, and I hope we get the result. And again, you hope
Yeah.
I'm wrong, and I hope you get the result as well. Listen,
Of course.
Dave, of course, we'll put your channel in the description below. Thank you very much for joining us. If
My
you are new
pleasure.
around here, please make sure you do subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up. This, of course, is an association with our good channel sponsors, KUMB, Knees Up Mother Brown. Make sure you do go check out their channel forum and go and check out all their website as well. You get great content from all West Ham fans from all over the world. Stay safe, and of course, come on, you Irons.
It's like a family tree, part of you and part of